Hello, America. I'm Brilyn Hollyhand, Editor-in-Chief of the Truth Gazette, live here in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, with U.S. Congressman from Mobile, Alabama, and candidates for the U.S. Senate in 2020, Congressman Byrne. Thank you very much for joining us today.
It's good to be with you, yeah.
Congressman Byrne, what initially made you want to run for the U.S. Senate and take back the seat that Alabama Democrat Doug Jones currently holds?
Well, I knew from the very beginning that it was not likely that Senator Jones would vote the way most of us in Alabama would expect him to vote, but he very quickly proved me to be right. And I think it's very important for us to have a U.S. Senator from Alabama who reflects the values of the state of Alabama and not the values of the politically correct crowd in Washington. But I went around the state and visited with people to listen to them, to make sure that what I was thinking was the same that they were thinking, and of course it was. And many of them encouraged me to run, and so I listened to what they had to say, and so we're running.
Well, great. With the growing debate over border security, what is your stance on the need for a border wall or barrier on our nation's southern border?
We do have an emergency on the southern border. I don't just listen to anybody about that. I've listened to the professionals from the Customs and Border Patrol, who we charge with protecting our border. They've told us that there's an emergency. They've told us that they need a wall. They told us where they need the wall. They know where they need to replace the wall. So I support the President in building the wall on the southern border, and I support his use of the national emergency powers to get it done because we couldn't get it done any other way.
Like the President saying, build the wall and crime will definitely fall.
Yes.
While announcing your candidacy last month, you said, quote, "I will fight every day to bring Alabama's conservative values to Washington." If you're elected to the U.S. Senate, what are some examples of conservative values you will stand for and sponsor in the Senate?
Well, building the wall is one. Another is Senator Jones' maiden speech on the floor of the Senate was for gun control. We're not for gun control in Alabama. He voted against the pain-capable abortion bill, which would stop abortions after 20 weeks. The United States is only one of 5 nations that continues to allow abortions after 20 weeks. I voted for that in the House. He voted against it in the Senate. And very importantly, I want to make sure that we have a U.S. Senator from Alabama who supports conservative judges. You know, it's the role of the Senate to confirm the judges that the President nominates. He voted against Judge Kavanaugh, for example, and I would vote for Judge Kavanaugh. So it's a very clear distinction between his values, which I think are far left of center, and my values, which are mainstream Alabama values, but they're considered to be conservative.
And to what you were saying on gun rights, the NRA has given you an A+ rating on your support for the Second Amendment, but sadly, some of your colleagues in Congress do not have that same viewpoint on gun rights. If elected to the U.S. Senate, what will you do to protect Alabama citizens' gun rights?
Well, first of all, you've got to make sure that you're standing up against any effort to limit those rights. We had 2 bills in the House a couple of weeks ago that would have curtailed gun rights for people across America. So I voted against those 2 bills, for example. But there have been some efforts that I've made to try to actually expand gun rights. In fact, I tried to make an amendment to that bill, one of those bills, that would have expanded concealed carry. So I'm going to continue to do that, whether it's voting against the things that are trying to curtail gun rights or vote for the things that would expand gun rights. I'm going to continue to stand up for that.
Recently, you were chosen by President Trump to sponsor historic education legislation. For our viewers that have not heard about this, could you please explain to them what this legislation is and why the President chose you to sponsor it?
Well, it's a $5 billion a year tax credit, which means you get a dollar-for-dollar credit on your tax return when you make a contribution as an individual or a business to a qualified nonprofit organization that provides scholarships to young people to go to the schools of their and their parents' choice. You know, when I was on the state school board 25 years ago, we came up with a list of failing schools. Just a couple of weeks ago, we got the latest list of failing schools. It's the same schools. So why would we make children and their parents continue to go to schools that fail year after year? And this gives them a way to have an opportunity to have a choice and get a better education, which is a part of our opportunity in America. President Trump and Secretary of Education DeVos and I've been working together on a lot of education things. They knew of my strong support for this concept in Alabama and around the country. And I was honored that they selected me to be the House sponsor, and I'm honored to do that on the House side in conjunction with Senator Cruz on the Senate side.
Alabama Democratic Senator Doug Jones recently received backlash over comments he made on CBS's Face of the Nation, saying, quote, "For whatever reason, they, referring to Alabama Republican politicians, do not want African Americans and other minorities to vote. I assume rather than trying to get those votes, they want to restrict those votes. Alabama Secretary of State John Merrill came back with voting data proving these accusations as false. What is your reaction to these false accusations and comments by Senator Jones?
It makes me very angry. Not only is that not true, the opposite is true. We have historic numbers of people voting in the state of Alabama, historic numbers of people registered in the state of Alabama. In fact, I would ask Senator Jones, how do you think you got elected, Senator Jones, without that? I'm tired of people putting Alabama down, and I'm particularly tired of somebody who's supposed to represent us putting us down. I'm proud of Alabama. I'm proud of what we've accomplished. We've come a long way from where we were in the 60s, and I don't like the fact that one of our officials is putting us down. Look, there would not be a Voting Rights Act in America but for Republicans in the House and Senate that voted for it. So the Republican Party has certainly nothing to apologize for there. Now, I do believe the integrity of the electoral process. And so what Secretary of State Merrill and members of the legislature have done is they've cleaned up a voting system that was not very clean. And so we have very clean elections in Alabama today, which I think is a good thing. Other states would like to have some of what we've got. But that doesn't mean we don't have lots of people voting, because we have record numbers of people registered, record numbers of people voting, record numbers of African Americans registered, record numbers of African Americans voting. I think he's totally wrong, and it just makes me angry that he can say that.
And to end today's interview, what is your message to the voters to get ready for your 2020 U.S. Senate campaign?
If you want someone who's going to fight for your and my conservative values in Washington, vote for Byrne, because that's exactly what I've done and what I will continue to do.
And for more information on Congressman Byrne's 2020 Senate campaign, you can visit bradleybyrne.com. Also remember to visit thetruthgazette.com/2020 to see the Truth Gazette's 2020 Election HQ featuring our 2020 presidential tracker. Thank you all for watching today. God bless.